Hello, beautiful people. So I know in my last video I was all like, I got a suitcase at the thrift store for free! Confirmation for the journey ahead! But, unfortunately, later that day or the next day, I actually found some issues with my Forerunner. I was so excited in that video to share that little spoiler for something to come, and I do believe and hope that that's still on the horizon for me. But like I said, I found some issues with my Forerunner, some issues that I already knew that I had, but I have not been able to afford the repairs, nor have I been able to afford a mechanic's diagnosis to confirm that what I suspect is the problem is actually the problem. To explain a little bit about the problem, I believe that my control arm bushings are bad, and I've known this and felt this for a while. When I first moved to Utah some months ago, I finally got an alignment for my car. One of my tires was severely towed in, and basically that tire ended up going bald. I recently finally replaced both front tires, got a tire balancing, and after that, I found out that that same tire was towed in again, which means that there is something wrong with my suspension and such. And I think that it might be my bushings, how bad those control arm bushings are from the other issues I've been having with my vehicle, or possibly making that alignment go out. There also might be some other issues as well. My brother is also a little bit mechanically inclined, like I am, so he is going to take a little bit of a look at my car and see if we can find if there's something else wrong with it as well. But yeah, so unfortunately, the control arm bushings is kind of an expensive fix. I can repair that myself. I don't have all the tools to actually change out the bushing, so I think that I would change out the whole entire control arm. But for each control arm set, it's about $200. So that would be 4 control arms. If it is all 4 of them, I don't really know how to check that. So you can add that up yourself, and if there is another issue, plus the cost of the alignment after I do that, and at that point I also might have to replace another tire, both my front tires. Thankfully I have another set of front tires. But yeah, guys, so that issue came up, and well, it's already been there, but it reared its head and made itself known to me pretty much immediately after taking that last video where I was super hopeful and excited, and I spiraled out really hard. If you have been watching my videos for a while recently, I have been in a job that I really don't like. It is extremely triggering to me. I've been having a lot of panic attacks and PTSD episodes in this job, and it has been a immense struggle just to force myself to go to work every day, as well as the aspect of I am extremely overwhelmed with living in the city. Even though I grew up in the city, I am not a city girl, and loud noises, crowds, constant stimulation is really overwhelming for me. And yeah, just I've been here for about 5 or 6 months, and it has been just adding up. When I first moved here, I was really excited to be here, and I was in a really positive mood. I will admit that I definitely saw an intense decline in my mental health when my dog died a couple months ago. One of my dogs, his name was Gus. I did make a video about that, if you would like to check it out. But I did notice a pretty massive decline in my mental health after that, and I have been really struggling to get myself back up to the kind of the high point for me, and I have been struggling with an overwhelming amount of negativity. So once I decided that I was going to basically move back into my car, guys, and move somewhere else, somewhere new again, and kind of get back into that nomadic style of living. I was so excited and so hopeful for myself, and just I immediately started getting back into dancing again. I just felt all this hope for myself and for like creating my dreams again and getting back into the flow of those dreams and feeding them. And then, well, bam! Guess what, Cherisse? You don't get to go anywhere. And I had initially been planning to save up for the next couple months and then leave right before my birthday. And after, with this current issue coming up, I could leave with it like this, but it is going to get progressively worse. Going on long journeys with my vehicle in this shape, so I have kind of just stepped away from that being an option for the aspect of needing to take care of my vehicle. I did spiral a little bit into, I don't even want this car anymore. I just will live out of a fucking backpack to get out of this place. And that is still an option. It really is. But for now, I am just stepping back into the mode of trying to save. Unfortunately, I don't work very much at my job, and because of my mental health struggles with the constant triggers I've been dealing with, it is really hard for me to even consistently show up to this job, unfortunately, because of how intensely triggered I am all the time. I actually, so kind of to the title of this video, on Sunday, I had a really bad mental breakdown, and I have just kind of felt crushed in my life, like one thing after another just keeps falling apart. And with the car thing, it just kind of felt like it snatched away my hope to get out. So I woke up at 5, I had work at 7 in the morning, and I basically just cried those whole 2 hours, from overwhelm and from dreading going to a job that I just was terrified of dealing with constant panic attacks in. And I did end up going to work, and 30 minutes into it, I realized that I needed to leave, and I was going to bring myself to the psych hospital. I texted my brother, told him that I needed him to take me to the psych hospital because I couldn't do this. If I was going to be staying here for even longer than I expected, then I needed some type of medication to deal with the constant overwhelm and anxiety and suicidal thoughts that I've been dealing with. I have been trying to get medicated for about 7 months, I want to say now. 6 or 7 months, and just one thing after another has happened to where it hasn't worked out for me. So I was planning on going to the psych hospital with the intention of being medicated. I will say that, like, I do have to appreciate myself and, like, commend myself, because despite the fact that I have been dealing with a lot of suicidal thoughts and just really intense panic attacks and PTSD episodes, that I remind myself that I have not self-harmed, and I am still reaching out for help. I have not been reaching out for help as much. I am seeing a therapist right now, and I have been dealing with these intense dark thoughts for a while, and I finally reached a point, I think that, like, reaching that point where it's like, I can't deal with this anymore, being in a place that I really don't want to be, and I'm trying to escape, and I'm trying to get out of it. And life is just, like, beating me back into this corner. But anyway, I realized yesterday was Sunday. I realized yesterday morning how much I needed to go get help because I wanted to hurt myself. I will say that it's been about 3 years since I cut myself. I started cutting when I was about 13. I'm 29 now, so I stopped cutting myself 3 years ago. And I'm really proud of myself for that. For the most part, I've had no desire to go back into that habit. But yesterday, that kind of came back. And another form of self harm that I have participated in the past was like hitting myself in the face. I've never done this in front of other people, but I used to like hit myself all the time to the point where like it would just hurt all over my head from like the bruises. To be honest, I probably have given myself concussions before just from like bashing my face into like walls. When I was younger, I have not done this as an adult, but yeah, so I started getting the urge to do that yesterday, and that was a big call for me to get help because that shows how dark and low and overwhelmed I've gotten. And I will say, like I said, like I have to commend myself because I didn't hurt myself at all. And I went to work for 30 minutes, ended up leaving, told her one of the head cashiers like I have to leave. I have to go to the hospital. So my brother ended up taking me to the hospital for an assessment. I told them that basically the purpose of me wanting to be in the psych hospital was so I could get medicated because I've been trying to get medicine help to deal with the severity of my mood swings and my anxiety. To be honest, I think that what I really need help with the most is the severity of the anxiety and overwhelm of being here and just with life in general. I get really, really overwhelmed really easily. And I do find that being in this city, I am more easily overwhelmed by things than I have been when I'm living a little bit more out there in like the wilderness and nature. I think that it's a lot easier to kind of ground myself into the moment when I'm in a place where I can go be alone in nature and not be bothered and just be in complete silence. So I didn't end up going into the inpatient program. I think that having the like being super open to being like, I want to be medicated, I want to take my medicine, it kind of makes it where it's like, hey, okay, you don't need to stay in here, you don't need to be supervised and basically forced to take your medication. So they prescribed me a couple different medications for anxiety and bipolar, and I picked those up, and unfortunately I had very, very adverse reactions to both of the medications. This is actually part of the reason that this is actually part of the reason why it's taken me so long to be open to take psychiatric medications. I am extremely sensitive to psychiatric drugs, and the last time I tried, I think I tried like Zoloft or something for depression when I was like 19, and it made me even more suicidal. So I have not been open to taking psychiatric drugs for 10 years, and so this really sucks because I can't take these medications that they gave me because they are actually making things worse for me. And talk about discouraging. I will say that I am doing a lot better today than I was yesterday. And I am trying to get my medical insurance stuff figured out. And basically, I am losing my Medicaid insurance, which means that I am losing my therapy and my ability to see a psychiatrist to try to get new medications. So I have been trying to figure this out with them for the past week, and it still has not been taken care of. And I am really hoping that that gets figured out soon, but it's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm feeling really discouraged because I'm trying really hard to stay positive and to do all the things that everybody else too is telling me that I need to do, what's right for me, and everything is not working out for me. That's what it looks like. I will say this, that I try to keep a really positive mentality. Recently it has been extra difficult, but I have been trying to go into paying more attention to my habits and what habits I've been kind of falling off with, my healthy habits. So one of the ones I've been noticing is that I have been eating more junk food and stuff like that. So I've been trying to switch back into more healthy eating, because I do know that that does have an impact on your mental and emotional health. It is a little bit difficult because at this point I am not making pretty much enough money to buy any groceries, so I'm surviving off of the food bank and what I can get from them. And it makes it a little difficult to meet all my nutritional needs, but at the same time, I'm like, hey, I'm grateful I have something to eat. I've been trying to still exercise every day, and I've been still doing positive affirmations every day. And this morning I decided I was going to crack down on looking for encouragement and support from the internet. So I have watched a lot of videos on like YouTube. I do not have any other form of social media anymore, but I have over the years watched a lot of videos on YouTube and podcasts that have been about spirituality and encouragement and positivity, and I kind of took a break from that for a while because, first of all, I was like, what am I feeding my mind, and am I allowing other people's opinions and beliefs to control my own? And so I kind of felt like I needed to take a break from that to kind of figure out who I am outside of other people. And on top of that, I had a kind of identity crisis recently where I just kind of put all my beliefs in the lineup and was like, okay, I don't know what's supposed to stay, what's actually real. So I also kind of took an even further step back from a lot of the videos I'd been watching because I didn't want to be in a state of spiritual psychosis, basically. So I have, with this recent breakdown, though, reached a point where I need help and I'm not getting it from all the other outlets that I'm trying to get it from. Like, I will say I am seeing an amazing therapist, which I am about to lose for I don't know how long until my Medicaid stuff gets figured out. I hope that I do not lose her for good because of this. But it seems like everything else has been kind of just like crumbling with everything that I've been trying to figure out. I've been meditating. I would like to start meditating more and going out into nature more. I get a little bit overwhelmed out here because there is a lot of people in most of the nature spots, and the more secluded nature spots are a bit further of a drive, and right now my dad is financing my gas completely. He has been for months now, and I do not want to just like super take advantage of that by always driving hours to be in a nature spot. So I have been using what I have in the area as much as I possibly can. I am realizing, though, that with this extreme decline in my mental health and my positivity, that I need to just say fuck it and crack down on the amount of time that I spend outside and meditating, because I cannot live like this. if I cannot find medicine that is going to help me and I can't afford good food to help me, then I need to find other ways to get help. And perhaps you're watching this and like it can be really discouraging when you feel like you have to figure out everything on your own. And you're already overwhelmed. So that basically is why I have started reaching out to the internet again. I had this playlist that I had created earlier this year, I think, called Awakening Journey. I had shared it publicly, and then I kind of, when I went through my identity crisis, I put it on private because I felt like some of the videos encouraged spiritual psychosis. But I actually recently have reopened that to the public because I personally have found, like, with myself, I think it was kind of like protecting myself a little bit because I felt ashamed of some of the things that I had believed in that I had a massive reality check about and realized weren't real and weren't true, and I didn't want to encourage that state in other people as well. But at this point, I am realizing that a lot of the videos that I had shared to this playlist are very encouraging and are about creating inner strength and self-empowerment, and I am trying to change up my algorithm again to re-enter into that state because I realized that, you know what, I had this reality check, so now I have incorporated a certain level of skepticism into my personal beliefs and how I view and listen to things, that I think I'm ready to start listening to some of these people again because I am not just going into it blindly as in like, yes, everything. So if you would like to check out this playlist, I will put a link to it in the description. But today I went to that playlist and I went to one of the people that I had listened to. I clicked on her video and I went down because it will suggest other videos by them or similar videos. I went down and clicked on one that was suggested that I had not watched before that is a little bit more recent. And to be honest, it was exactly what I needed to hear today. And if you're still watching this, I'm glad that you are, especially if you were going through anything similar right now and feel discouraged in your mental health. And perhaps this will not be encouraging for you, but I hope that it is. I will also actually put a link to this specific video in my description if you would like to check it out because I found it extremely encouraging and exactly what I needed to listen to today. And I am going to aim to listen to more of those videos, more of these types of videos today to help encourage me out of a funk and encourage a deepened inner level of positivity and trust in what is going on in my life. One of the things that this video encouraged actually was that kind of inner state of trust and peace of mind. And she talked about how, like, you know what, those of you who are watching this, you're basically getting distracted by everything that's falling apart, and all of these negative things are trying to basically get your attention away from remaining in a more positive state. Do not let these constant negative things distract you and pull you into these negative spirals. And what you're not seeing is what is happening behind the scenes and what is to come. And I know that I am at times in my life where those types of videos can be really just like, whatever, dude, like, you don't even know what's going on in my life. I have tried the positivity route, I have tried the faith route and the trust, and things just still fell apart and they didn't turn into anything positive. So you know what, like, kind of fuck you and all of that, because I've been in this for, like, let's say it's been years. I've been in this for years and I just keep trying to remain positive about the direction that I'm going and that good things are happening for me behind the scenes. And guess what? but they're not. So I get it if that's how you feel about that, because that's kind of like the funk that I've been in over the past months now, maybe longer. And I just kind of reached a point, I guess, where I'm just like, I can't. I have to, even if it's lies, even if it's naivety, I have to feed my mind with positivity. I have to feed my mind with hope. And this is actually something that I experienced yesterday with one of the medications that I had tried. It was Abilify. Was that I couldn't feel hope. And it was like, the way that I would describe how this drug made me feel was kind of like, and I think that Abilify can help some people. I think that prescription medications can actually be beneficial to some people. But the way that I would describe how this made me feel was like, and perhaps you relate to this, when you're a child and you are like basically forced to smile and look happy even though you feel really angry and frustrated inside and you just want to hurt like yourself or somebody else, like that. But you have to look happy and you have to be smiling, otherwise your parents are going to beat you. That's how this drug made me feel. It was like, oh, I find myself smiling right now, and like my brain's a little bit like, oh, everything's lovely, while I feel really, really angry and frustrated at the same time. And another of the feelings is that I couldn't feel hope. So I was thinking about like my journey that I want to take and going back into the nomadic style of living, and like even in my like depressed state earlier that day, when I thought of it, it gave me a little bit of hope. It gave me a little bit of hope that like, even though now I have to wait longer and I feel hopeless about being here, like thinking about that dream gave me hope. But while I was on this drug, I couldn't even feel hope. And that was just like, that was another thing that was like, I can't do something that takes away my ability to feel hope. So, which has kind of been like a little bit of a state that I've been in, but there has always been just this tiny glimmer of hope that has kept me going. So, yeah, guys, basically I have started watching these types of videos again because I desperately need to feed myself some hope. I desperately need to feed myself positivity and encouragement, not just like manifestation videos and spirituality videos that talk about like what you need to change to create this for yourself. No, what I need, what I know that I need right now, it's not that. It's not those, this is what you're doing wrong and this is what you need to do right. No, those videos that speak to, hey, I see what you're going through right now, but you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay, even though it doesn't feel like it right now. Even though you feel lost and confused and overwhelmed and angry and frustrated, it's gonna be okay. Because there's something that's on your side. And it sucks that life falls apart sometimes, but there's something better for you. There is something positive that is happening for you, even if you're not seeing it right now. Focus on that. Focus on that. Focus. The word focus has been something that has been kept coming up in my life recently, and as I'm like falling apart, I'll like see this word focus in all these like different spots, and it's just like, that was one word that she kept saying in this video. Once again, like, check out this video if you felt drawn to it at all. I found it so encouraging to me, and it wasn't just like a video, like I said, that's just like kind of like, fuck you for not being positive. You're the reason your life is falling apart. It wasn't anything like that. It was just so compassionate and just kind of seeing me for like the struggle I'm going through, and then being like, hey, it's okay to still trust that it's going to be okay, that it's going to work out for you. So that's what I needed today, and that is what I am going to do my best to flood my mind and my heart and my energetic space with today and moving forward. So I realize it's kind of a twist around. If you're new to my channel and you're watching this video, I do encourage you to like and subscribe. This is kind of a big aspect of what I do on here, is I'm very honest about what I am struggling with my lows and my highs, and I do try to put a positive twist on things. And I will say that I don't think I always put a positive twist on things, but I try to bring some amount of positivity into these, because I know how easy and how difficult it can be to just be wrapped in periods of darkness where you are literally doing your best to climb out of that. You are just treading water and going nowhere. You're doing all the things that the internet, that therapists, that everybody around you is saying to do to be more positive or create more positive things in your life, and life is just not. It's just not. It seems like life is not wanting to create with you. And I get that. That's so discouraging. You stop wanting to look for encouragement. You stop wanting to look for ways out when all of the ways and all of the advice and all of the positivity that everybody is feeding you isn't doing anything. And I'm so sorry if that's where you're at, because I totally relate to that. That is such a rough place to be in. But I also want to encourage you not to give up. I want to encourage you not to give up. I don't know what your life holds. I don't. But I will say this much, as even though it doesn't necessarily feel like that right now, I have created so much more for myself, and I have lived such a bigger life than I already thought that I would. I'm 29 years old. I'm almost 30. And no, I am not where I want to be right now at all. I am trying so hard to create happiness in my life, and it feels like I'm treading water. But I've also come a really long way. I've come a really long way from the girl I was 10 years ago, from the girl I was 5 years ago. And it might not always look like that. But like I said earlier in this video, like when I had my mental breakdown and I went to the psych hospital, I wasn't hurting myself. I had not created a plan to go through with the suicidal thoughts, which is already further than the first time I went to the psych hospital, where I had a plan. I had a plan and I was gonna do it, but then this is not the method to deal with somebody who is on the brink of suicide. Do not try to guilt trip them out of that. I unfortunately, I contacted my mom about what I was gonna do, and she guilt tripped me out of doing it and kind of turned it around on how I would cause harm to her life. And that is not the method to deal with a person who is about to kill themselves. But I will say that it kept me from doing it, and it got me in the psych hospital. I had a horrible experience in the psych hospital, and instead of killing myself, became a severe alcoholic. So it wasn't necessarily the best route after that either, but I have come a really long way. I am not drinking, and I will say that the only reason I'm not drinking right now is because I cannot afford alcohol. I can't. I think that maybe my last paycheck went from like $6.40 to $22.06 in less than 24 hours because of all the bills that I had to pay. And I kind of think that that was maybe the universe protecting me, because I just wanted to drink. I wanted to drink a lot, and I wanted to go back into drinking very heavily, and I cannot right now because I literally cannot afford it. I don't have the money for alcohol, so came a long way. And sometimes you really gotta look at that. Like, you gotta look at those small little changes that you've made in your life, even if they're kind of forced. Like, if you are somebody who struggles with suicidal thoughts or tendencies, I just want to say that I'm so glad that you're here still. No, maybe I don't know you. Maybe I don't, but I am so glad that you're still here. The fact of the matter is that any of us can tap out at any time that we want to. And if you're still here, I genuinely have to believe that there's a reason to it. I am a huge mystic. I am a big mystic. If you're still here, and if you're watching my video and you're still watching it to this point, there is a reason that you exist. And there is somebody out there other than me who knows you that is grateful that you exist. Even if you do not see that right now. I feel like maybe you're listening to this because you needed to hear it. But there is somebody that is grateful that you exist. Don't give up. Doesn't always feel like it, and it doesn't always seem like it, but to be honest, I think it's worth holding on to the hope that things are gonna get better. Because they do. Even though I don't like where my life is at right now, I will say that it has gotten better for me. In a lot of ways. I'm in a place where I am able to be loved and supported by my brother. I pay almost nothing for rent. I pay $3.50 for rent. He is supporting me in a desperate time of need for myself because my mental health declined so badly earlier this year, and I desperately just needed support. I needed to be somewhere where I could receive help from somebody who loved me. So in that way, like, things have gotten better for me, even though I'm not necessarily happy with where I'm at. I am still in a beautiful place. I have a job, even though I don't like that job, and I don't make very much money. I still have food. I eat every day. Every day, even when I don't really have much of an appetite because I'm depressed or anxious. I eat every day. Even if it's just food bank food. I'm doing all right. So I'm going to keep listening to some positivity videos. Keep filling my mind with that, because obviously the medication I received is not going to help me. So maybe this is also just a redirection. I do have to say that when I found out that my vehicle had all these issues, I had my little panic attack and cried for a couple hours, and then I entered my positivity where I was like, you know what? If this is not working out for me, then there must be a reason that I'm still here. There must be a reason that I am being kept here. Because every time that has been time for me to leave a place, there has been a way that has been presented to me. And if there is not a way being presented to me right now, then there is a reason that I am staying here. And maybe that also, I will say, I ended up having another mental breakdown and just being like, fuck that. But maybe all of this is kind of redirecting me deeper into myself. Reminding me, hey, you have the tools to take care of yourself and to take care of your mind and your spirit and your emotions. Even though you are in a place, in a time that it is more difficult perhaps than it is at other points or other times or other places, I still have the tools to take care of myself and pull myself out of the darkness. And sometimes that's reaching out for help. For some people, that is getting on medication. For some people, that's going to the psych hospital. Even though I don't like the psych hospital. In my one experience, they treated me horribly. Perhaps reaching out for help and telling people what's going on with you is a part of that process. Perhaps going on the internet to find encouraging and uplifting videos is a part of it. Perhaps going outside more and spending more time in meditation and stopping yourself from those negativity spirals, which I know how difficult that can be sometimes. It has been just, wow, extra rough for me lately. I feel like I usually don't have this difficult of a time, but I don't know if it just feels like I am under some like extreme amount of spiritual attack and warfare, and it has been so overwhelming, and I go through periods where it feels like this, and sometimes it is more difficult than other times to stop that negative flow of information that we are receiving or sending to ourselves. But there are ways to counteract that, and I hope that you find them, and I hope that you look for them, and I hope that you reach out for them. You are more powerful than you know, and you are capable of pulling yourself out of dark spaces. I'm constantly proving this, and I don't always do it well. I don't always do it well. And sometimes I need a helping hand out of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright, and I'm gonna go outside today and take my dog somewhere pretty and do some yoga and meditate. Dance, do some things that I enjoy so I can connect more deeply with myself, because that's, I think, what I need to do right now. So, yeah, guys, that is going to be it for today. Thank you for being here if you've made it this far in the video. Thanks for watching my videos, and I love you, and I believe in you so much. I believe in all of you, and we're all in this together. I know that this is strangers on the internet kind of a thing, but if this has encouraged you in any way, that is so beautiful, because that's what I'm going to be looking for today, is strangers on the internet who encourage me, and that makes me happy to know that I encourage some of you guys out there. So I hope that you have an amazing and beautiful and uplifted day. I love you. I believe in you. Again. Bye.